Let's look at the footer now. So the information that you put in the footer of your website goes onto every single page of your website. So the footer sections is when you scroll right down to the bottom, and it's anything that's down here that is on every page of your website. So often you can have one section like that, and then you can have like another footer bar at the bottom as well. So on a local website, there's certain information that would be really important to put in a footer, and then we'll go through that. And then on an online store, there's information that you would put on that. So firstly, with a local business, it really is a very big opportunity to add some local SEO into your footer. I'm going to call them widgets, and the widget just refers to each kind of section. So this is sort of one section, this is a second section or widget, third widget, fourth widget, etc. Sometimes you might only have 2 widgets in the footer, sometimes you have 3 widgets in the footer. It doesn't really matter. It's more about putting the information in there. It doesn't matter what order this information is in. You can have the information from widget 1 over here. You can have widget 3's information here. It's just about making sure that you have this information in there somewhere. So one of the first things people have is a tiny little about section about themselves. That's not critical. You don't have to have that in there, but I see it on most websites, so I just thought I'd put it there. If you want to put it there, that's fine. It gives you an opportunity to put some more keywords into the footer, and maybe it helps as far as people knowing sort of exactly what your site is about. But something that is really, really important for a local business is that we're going to have this information in there. So we service people living or working in these areas. Or you might have something like, it might just say servicing and then list the areas. And so we'll just scroll down to this section here because I want to show you this example. So if your business is in Florida in the USA, then you need to think about what locations are most important to you in order to get clients from. So it might be that you're actually targeting these major cities. It might be that it's the smaller cities that are nearby. It might actually be locations within a city itself, such as these. So on this site here, because we're a mobile hairdresser, we've put locations within a city because as a mobile hairdresser, you're not going to be targeting sort of all the major cities that are in Florida. However, if you were, maybe you did mold removal and you had a business that could cover the whole of Florida, and you had people working in every single city and area doing mold removal, then you might put that into the footer instead. So it's all about what are the locations that people are going to come from. If you're a business that has like a physical location that people come to, then usually the locations you service or the distance that people are willing to travel is a lot less than if you're actually the one that is traveling to them. Now, the reason why it's so important to have these locations in your footer is that your footer is on every single page of your website. So what that means is that on your home page, you're optimizing it for mobile hairdresser and every single one of those locations. On the men's hairdresser page on your website, you're also optimizing it for every single one of those locations. So if someone searched men's hairdresser South Miami, then the men's hairdresser page will come up. If someone searched kids hairdresser Coconut Grove, then that page will come up for the kids hairdresser. If someone searched ladies hairdresser downtown Miami, then the ladies hairdresser page will come up. So it's incredibly powerful, at making sure that for each location and then for every service that you also provide, that you have an opportunity to rank for those. So in the second widget, what you want to do is you want to have links to the important pages on your website. So you really want to have links to these service pages, because every time that you put a link in your website to one of these service pages, you're telling Google that it's an important page on your website. So Google will look at how many links on your website are going to your mobile hairdresser page, and in this case we're going to be linking that to the home page. How many links are there on your website going to the mobile hairstylist page? And so what I'm always trying to do is make sure that the highest number of internal links is going to these critical pages on the website. So the home page and then these other critical pages. And in this case, rather than putting home there as the word that it's linking on, I'm also going to be linking on whatever the most important keyword is for the home page. You're then going to have other pages on the site that Google wants to see. So Google usually wants to see a link to a privacy policy and a sitemap in the footer, and then you might have links to pages that are important for people. So one of the most important pages on a website that people go to once they've already reached the website is your About page. So it's very rare that someone's going to search about Dan's mobile hairdressing. They might, but it's unusual. When people go to the About page, it's because they've come to your website and now they're like, oh, what's this person's philosophy and beliefs and who are they? And therefore, am I aligned with their values and philosophies, and do I want to use them as my hairdresser? People will also go and have a look at your testimonials. They may search, Dan's mobile hairdressing testimonials, probably more likely to search testimonials than About. But again, the testimonials is a page people will often want to go to once they reach your website. So again, in the written information, I've just given you another example. So for these links, if you were a deck builder, then the links to your service pages, again, you'd link to the home page, but instead we'd probably link on a word like decks or whatever one of the main keywords is for the home page. Then you could have your other main services there as well. And then again, you would link to sort of the other important pages on the website. So in the third widget or somewhere in the footer, you usually want to have follow us on social media. So you want to have some kinds of social media icons is usually what you would see. But you can also embed like Facebook and YouTube like I've done. So if you go and have a look on mine, then I have got this embedded in my site. So I have YouTube there where people can click on that and they can subscribe, and they can also like the Facebook page. Now you'll notice on mine that I put the links to my important pages actually down here in the footer bar, and that's okay as well. So doesn't necessarily have to be in this section, just somewhere in there. And then the other thing that you can put in there, just say if you're just going to use the social media icons, you don't want to have this embedded bit, then you might want to put some kind of sponsorship or logos in there. So you can see that I've got things that I am a member of. So I donate to Joining Hands, which is an organization that gives massages to homeless people. And then I'm also a member of the Chemical Free community. And then you have over here, I've also got links to my videos, which again is like another social thing. Then in widget 4 or somewhere in the footer, you would also have your contact information, because this is a local business again. So you're going to put your business name, you're going to put your address, and then you're going to put your phone number. And potentially in some cases you can even embed a Google map there in the footer if there's enough space for it, because that can really help people if they can click on that if they're trying to drive to your location. In this case, Dan's mobile hairdressing, he may not have people that are going to come to his location very often, and so he may not put the map there. In fact, If it's purely mobile, he may not even want to put his address there, but that would then make it obviously very difficult for him to be able to list themselves in business directories and get the benefit of the business directories. What you can do in some cases, if you really don't want to put your full address there, is that you could take off the number so that it just had Langley Street, or you could even just take off the street and just have this part of the address and phone number there. Probably wouldn't have home office either as a mobile hairdresser, would you? It'd be like home studio or something. So whatever is obviously relevant to your website is what you want to be putting in these sections. The other thing that I would recommend doing is going to Google and having a look at the footers of your competitors. So just say, if you're a local business that's an electrician and you want people who are typing in the keyword electrician Sunshine Coast, then you can go and see what your competitors have got on their website. So we go and look at this person, and then that one looks like a real website, that one there. So see if there's anything specific in your industry that people are putting in their footer. So look, this one has hardly anything in their footer. So if you go and put the stuff in your footer that I recommended, then you're definitely going to be ahead of them, unless this is their whole footer. Let's have a look and see if we go to one of their other pages. No. So this is just their footer. So all they're putting in there is location service. So you can do way better than them. Let's have a look at this one. So they've got some information there. They've got a link to one of their services pages. They've got social media. They've got recent blogs. I definitely don't recommend putting blogs in the footer, because we don't want people to go to your blogs. We want people to actually contact you. So I'm going to talk about that later on. But yeah, if you see blogs in your competitor's footer, don't put them there. Let's have a look. What they don't have is, in this case, they don't have the locations that they service anywhere in there, and they don't have their address in there. So again, you could do better than them by adding things in. What about this one? They've got the about, they've got the address, they've got maps, phone, they've got a testimonial in the footer. Look, you could put testimonials in the footer, but again, that could be taking up space. So I recommend that you don't put these things in your website footer, so links to blog posts, because then that creates internal links to the posts that are not really important. Your blog posts are rarely the most important pages on your website. Yes, they can bring you traffic, unless it is for some reason a very specially important blog post, then you could put a link to that there. But don't just put links to the latest blog posts or something like that, because it's creating internal links to that and telling Google that that's a super important page, when really it's your services and your products that are the most important page. Also, I wouldn't put testimonials in the footer, because they tend to take up too much space that is actually needed for these critical other things. If you really didn't have very much of these other things to put in the footer, then maybe you could put a little testimonial in there. But again, you need to look at sort of what's in that testimonial, because whatever you put in the footer is going to be on every single page of your website. And so if they're talking about in the testimonial about one specific service that you do, and you have 10 different services, then you don't necessarily really want that on every page of your website.